Do you want to lead with confidence? Of course we do. In this episode of the Lead Machine Growth Show, Michelle J. Howe introduces the authenticity factor, highlighting how true leadership comes from within. She shares tips on trusting instincts, balancing logic with intuition, and using empathy to overcome challenges. Michelle also guides leaders in breaking old habits, transforming patterns, and making genuine impact. Leadership is about being real, not just having authority. So tune in and learn more.
Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show, where you will discover how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream. Paul Guyan, the mastermind behind the Lead Machine, introduces you to trailblazers who inspire you to implement life-changing solutions and systems you can model to nurture your leads and get your offers seen by your ideal clients who will invest in themselves and you. Be sure you visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, tune in and get ready to transform your vision into reality.
Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show. I'm Paul Guyan, your host, Lead Machine coach, and the founder of the Lead Machine Marketing Group and Mastermind. And I'm dedicated to helping you tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream life. Whether you're just starting out or taking your business to the next level, let's get this conversation started and turn your dreams into reality. Michelle, it's so nice to have you here today. We've had a nice chat already before we started recording. Thank you again. I have a question. How did you get started, and how did you discover that leadership and authenticity were something that were supposed to go together? They're meant to be together instead of simply authority, which is what we've seen in many
Yeah.
today, and as well as moving up through corporate culture and all those things. It's more of authority, and I'm the boss.
Right. Well, how did I get started in this?
Yeah.
I discovered I was very empathic at the age of 40.
Uh-huh.
I have been a business professional. I was in accounting, a CPA, and consulting for many, many years. So I understand all that side of things. But when I recognized quite by accident and quite to my, that I was very empathic, I'm like, wait, what is that exactly? What does that mean? That meant I navigated the world based on feeling, that I saw deeper layers of people when I met them, and that I could shift depending on who I was talking to in order to reach.
Hmm.
I could read the vibes in a room. So very intuitive. And what came out front and center to me was, um, you know, a lot of people aren't doing that. Like the way that the world is structured, it's very logical. It's very scientific. We almost dumb down our emotions because emotions can be looked at as weakness,
Yeah.
right? So
Uh-huh.
instead of looking at it as this blessing that we have, as this skill that we have, we you're getting in my way. My emotions are confusing to me. I'm not going to look at them. I'm going to stuff that emotion that I don't like in the closet. So this ends up being what we do. Whereas I was always looking at people and what do I feel from them? This is what they're saying is the people would open up, they would tell me things, and I didn't know why. I didn't mind it, but it's like I saw them and they felt comfortable and safe sharing that. Now, authenticity came into the picture as of recent, probably in this last year, as I'm bringing my voice around to what I do. And within leadership, like we're all leading our lives. We're either leading a classroom, we're leading a business, we're leading a team, we're leading a family, we're all leading. All right. And authenticity to me means I'm being who I am. I'm not stifling myself. I'm listening to who I am. I'm being real with people. I'm connecting with people on a human level. I'm not uh, top of mind, this is what we need to have. I don't care what's going on in this room. This is what the result needs to be right now. Like, so the way leadership has been done has been very limited. It's been very logic. It's been very one dimensional in a sense. This is the outcome I want. This is my role. But when we look at everybody, leader, formally or not, as a leader of their life, now you look at people on a human level. And when you open that door up to connect with another person on a human level, and you create a life or an environment that honors not just your business goals, but the human element of what needs to be in a room. You need to establish trust. You need to establish a space where we're all on the same page. We're all navigating. Like there isn't, because what I have seen is when people don't come from an authentic, connecting, wise human level, right?
Mm-hmm.
They seem to trivialize all the people around them. All these people are just here to do what I need them to do, as opposed to bringing the atmosphere together and bringing everybody on the same page, like creating an environment that supports, that empowers, that inspires by looking at each person individually and creating a roadmap that helps them thrive. It's real, that's down to earth. Like, and I'm not saying that across the board we don't have this. I think we try, but in this environment right now, what I see happening empathically is that a lot of people don't know how to manage their emotions. They don't know how to lead with feeling. They get tense. They get stressed. This is how I'm supposed to do my role, right? As opposed to I can be real, I can be relaxed, I can connect, and I can still mandate respect and lead a group from that end of
Mm-hmm.
things. So, when I brought this into leadership, authenticity, it was like, let's be authentic for and real for who you are. You don't have to be the leader that is separate and apart, that pushes. You need to be able to be real with yourself, like each person. So emotions are a component of being authentic. You need to loosen up, relax, and accept who you are. That's like authenticity, an authentic version versus I made up, I need to be this version in order to command the room, in order to be respected, in order to not show vulnerability, right? I think being real and allowing ourselves to be that real with other people is a strength.
I would agree. And a lot of us are afraid to show our feelings or that we are vulnerable. Uh, and I think one of the reasons is that many leaders feel the pressure to conform to expectations, especially in corporate or our audiences are usually solo entrepreneurs or small business owners, may not have that structure of a corporation, but some of my clients are in the corporate world as well, and the results are important, and sometimes they're pressured. So how do you think that we can uh, deal with that and still be real, but yet get the results that we need to get?
Okay. So from my vantage point, yes, the results are important, but it's not a push to get those results. It's an unfolding. Yes, there's actions we put in place. There's systems we put in place. But when it becomes to, I don't say doggy dog, when it becomes to boom, 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 like the way you're conducting it, it's like going on vacation. Think about it going on vacation. Or when everything needed to happen, everything is scheduled out and you're rushing from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, right? If you take a more relaxed approach to your goals, to your results, and you see it as a natural unfolding and as a playful experience, now you've got a different lens at which you're judging and you're expecting things to go. Like if we have fun, if we play with our goals, and if we don't take it too seriously, what could be accomplished without that push, get that done. No, did that get the result it needed? Did this, like, when you even think about that scenario, it's very like, it's nerve-wracking, it's tense. Did we get the results that we wanted? Is this working for us? Certainly, anything that we do in our life, we want to see something positive happen. But sometimes we don't even know that it's not going to work. You don't know if it's going to work or not work. Um,
Right.
One of the marketing guys I've worked with, he goes, Michelle, all marketing is an experiment. You do not know till it's in place whether it's going to work or not. So,
Right.
we can all look for the right answer and the right result. And certainly we're going to invest in something we think is was going to give us a good result. But at the end of the day, it it's benefits us to take ourselves less seriously than more seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
You said play with your goals. And so I like the idea of that because, and especially the experiment. I'm of the mindset that the way I implement, I have a IT background. So when I implement something, and I also have a marketing background, uh, a lot of times I'll get to the minimum viable product or version of something that I think will work and get that working and then expand from there. So I iterate through. That's kind of a way of playing with the goals. Still, I'm working towards a goal, but I know that in order for all these other things to happen or all these other features to happen,
Right.
then you have to have this basic fundamental in place. So what do you mean by playing with goals?
Hmm. I guess I would say, because I always look for what doors open. I'm going to put 3, 4, 5 doors here. I'm not going to just say, hey, I'm going that direction and that's all I'm doing. And that door needs to open for me. I'm saying that there's a timing to what's going to open for you. And there's a landing that like you're almost creating the base of your success and your goals. If your goal is not attainable, it's not somewhat realistic, somewhat flexible, you could achieve more than your goal. Like you could be under under what's the word?
Not thinking big enough?
You could be restricting what you're looking at, what
Hmm.
you're planning for, what it is. And that goal is so single-minded in your mind. To me, it's this or better. Okay, what's going to open up? I'm going to come up with 3, 4 concepts and ideas that feel good to me. So my biggest thing with Empath Evolution and my programs and my coaching and my teaching is we need to tune into what's flowing, what gets us excited, and what opens up for us. Like, what is the next lay of the land of what we're doing? Like in any business, what is the next best move that I can make? And what's that going to turn into? And am I passionate? Does this inspire me? Does this lead me? Am I being guided, led that way? So it's almost like an unfolding or an opening is what you're looking for in your business. And a lot of times with marketing, you're tweaking your message to see what's going to open up. Who am I? Right? If you're too rigid in what you think or what your goal is, you might be missing all these other opportunities around you and being too narrow-minded as to what needs to happen next, as if we all know what needs to happen. You know what I mean? We know, but do we see the full picture of what's possible? So once you start really in your business, moving in a certain momentum, in a certain direction, it's noticing what directions are opening up for you and what directions are not. What goals, yeah, someone told me I need to follow this roadmap, but this doesn't feel like me, doesn't sound like me. It doesn't flow natural out of me. So my advice for all entrepreneurs, myself included, is to be careful how you set yourself up, because you're going to be upset that you failed if something doesn't meet your expectation. And then again, if you keep that expectation light, we're just going to have some fun here. We're just going to do some stuff. And you know what? It could land beautifully for you following that direction. And then you might say, you know what, that didn't work for me. It's not my style. I need something a little bit more structured, because then I can relax a little bit. That's fine. But you're not the whole, I need to push for this to be this way, and it needs to follow this exact order. And this is how life happens. This is how my success is achieved. It's got pros and it's got cons. And when I look at it, it's more cons, because you could inadvertently set yourself up for disappointment in what something is, as opposed to celebrating your wins. This didn't meet the deadline. And I've been there. I've been there. I've thought, oh, this is a beautiful thing to do. Let's do it. And then it falls flat, right? So where's that guarantee that something is going to go in your direction or move in the general direction of where you're going? There are systems, and everybody comes up with a different system. And I have a lot of respect for some, but there's not one formula that makes that happen. It's that momentum forward and that positive view and that win-win of what you're looking at that allows you to create and continue to create and follow that creativity forward. And yeah, you should be getting results along the way. And if you don't get results, something needs to be tweaked. So you're tweaking. And I'm sorry, this is not like a full 100% guaranteed answer. Do this, this, and this. Like, what I teach people to do is to step into more of a trusting flow that honors who they are, as opposed to a rigid, this is my goal, get that done. This is like, if you aren't feeling up to, this is a perfect example. So there are days I wake up and my creative juices are just going. They are going. I go from one thing to another, to another, to another. Then there are days I wake up and I look at things and I'm like, no, that's not happening today. Set that aside. Right. So I structure my day based on trusting the natural flow of where my genius is going that day. I sort of, I have things on my calendar, right? I prepare for those things on my calendar to a degree. And I make sure that calendar is in line with how I like to groove. Like, I know too much of this or too much of that is depleting for me. So I structure my week to somewhat honor the flow of who I am. And that way I can be more productive with less time, because I'm on, like, I'm at a level 10 when I'm doing this. I'm not at a level 3 doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's those ebbs and flows and feeling and integrating. And if for some reason, and in total, to be nerved up, restricted, stressed, my goals, that is like a recipe for cortisol. It's a recipe for stress. It's a recipe for disappointment.
So, how do we authentically set goals if we're just kind of tuning in with our emotions when we know we have to bring our business from startup to
Right.
to getting clients to scaling, which is we talked about at the beginning before we started recording. How do you set goals, and how do you apply this methodology to that? It sounds like there's a bit of implementation here we're talking about, like, what am I going to work on today? And then also, what direction am I heading in?
Right.
Yeah. So how does that play out?
There is a structure. So there's going to be an overall structure. This is where I'm going. This is where I see it going. there might be some ancillary things that might happen too along the way, but you have to have a general idea of where you're going with your business and have a vision for that at a year, at 6 months, at a year, at 2 years, at 5 years, right?
Uh-huh.
How it actually gets there is not necessarily like, yes, I need to get my CRM up to par. Yes, I need to get my emails. I need to get some kind of a lead magnet. I need to put these very good strategies in place.
Mhm.
Follow that. Like, I'm not saying no to strategies. I'm saying, yes, you need some strategies, but I'm saying go, don't go so intense about what is going to be the absolute way you're going to do it. Like, look at it more casually, more relaxed. It's just it's a way that we set ourselves into the day. It's a way that we're like almost looking at our goals, and it's, yes, we're going to achieve those goals. Of course it's going to happen. This is how we're going to do it. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to relax with that. And we're going to make sure that that 1, 2, 3 we have in place honors all of who you are. Like, you have to almost have, when I say all of who you are, I mean, you're not setting yourself up to fail by putting too many things into an implementation at one time. You're understanding that you need to put some things in place, and you will, and you're leaving some room there because there's always going to be growth pains. There's always going to be places where it's not just going to turn for you. It's not just going to work for you. Like, there's going to be things that go wrong along the way that need to be re-looked at, retweaked. Oh, I thought I had this brand all together. Oh, I have to go back. Oh, I thought I had this masterclass working and it should be doing X, Y, and Z. And guess what? It's not doing that. So that whole, we think that we do X and we get Y, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. Right? So
Right.
it's just knowing that, so we're not upset. So we're not setting ourselves up for, it's that realistic way of proceeding through life, because work is work, but then you have personal, then you have relational, and all of it needs to work for you, not just one or the other. And you can say, hey, you know what? I've got this stuff to do for work, and it's so important that my social's got to go on pause. Right, I'll do bare minimum social stuff because I've got this priority thing going on here. And that's okay because you've given yourself permission to do that. A beginning and an end. But when I see people that are so hyper focused on what they're doing that their life on the back end falls apart,
Yeah.
like,
You see that often with solo entrepreneurs.
yeah.
Yeah. Their marriages, if they have one, or their partnerships, their relationships, their children, all those things suffer while you're trying to do this thing, especially if you're bootstrapping and starting with a new enterprise, a new thing. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is this, I totally I get that, the entrepreneur, the visionary, we're trying to create a business. It needs to be a viable business. It needs to be growing. It needs to generate a certain amount of revenue. It has expenses to be like, okay, are you putting yourself in the hot boiling water? Like, just beware of how much you're boiling things up. Like, for yourself, you want to set yourself up for success by taking those sometimes a little bit bigger than baby steps, but not everything is in this pile over here. Everything is on the line for this. You just want to go, and there's points where you're going to have to go a little bit more risky, a little bit more invested in it, but you just don't want it to overwhelm you. I mean, that's what I can say from doing this myself, and from, you need to generate a certain amount of money. And guess what? When you go into your own business, sometimes that money doesn't come right away. It takes time to start to ramp up to what that is. And
Yeah.
anytime you're a solo entrepreneur, you're also learning every single position from, I used to be an accountant, a consultant, right? CPA. you're an entrepreneur now. Not only do I need to do my own accounting, not a big deal. My financial planning, not a big deal. My business plan, not a big deal. Oh, that's right. I need to talk to people. I need to make partnerships. I need to
Sales.
I need to sell, right? If I have
Mhm.
something, or at least promote it. I need to I need to manage people. So you end up needing to learn skills that you didn't originally come to the table with. They may not even be your highest skill. So then surrounding yourselves with somebody who can fill in the gaps of what you cannot do yourself, or what you don't have time to do because you're dedicated in this specific area. So I don't know. I have, humble respect for anybody who is an entrepreneur, because I know the journey, but it is a beautiful thing if you can set yourself up for success with it and enjoy each step of it, discover through each step of it instead of being frustrated by each step of it because you want something, you want it quicker, you want it faster, you want it better than what it was before. Like, because all of it takes time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you recognize when you need to start building a team so that you can focus on your brilliance and passion? And we were talking earlier about, the socials. Some of these things can't take a back burner, but they don't have to demand your attention. So that's when you want to look at bringing in a team. So how does authenticity and your leadership, uh, how do you choose a team that works well with you?
Well, the most important thing is to know who you are, is
Hmm.
to know what you need from someone. Um, some of us are
And
really,
who you aren't
and who
too.
you aren't, yes.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't know that, like, that to me has come from just observation of different, I don't say personalities, but different, like my ideal person, self-motivated. You have the knowledge, you don't know something, go figure it out. Like, I don't want to be teaching you how to do something. I can show you some things, but I respect and I need someone who's more independent. And there are some people that I've worked with, a couple of them, they need feedback, they need delegation, they want you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is okay, but it's not ideal for me. And I don't want to be needing to raise you up, compliment you. You did a good job here, you did a good job there, right? But
Hmm.
it's a nice thing to do. But for me, it's because my time is so limited to begin with. I need someone just as strong and independent and confident as I am. And when they need help, they might ask me for it. And other times, you know, in my opinion, you want to surround yourself with people who know their art better than you know your art, so that you can rely on them to be a source of guidance to you. And I can probably say without fail, most entrepreneurs are pretty accomplished already on their own. They know how to do a lot of things, but
Hmm.
in doing all those things, they're going to burn out because there's so many things,
Yeah.
right? So picking the right people, I don't have the perfect answer for that. I just know you're gonna make a list of what you're gonna make, where do I need to be? And everything else either falls, you let it calm down around you, and maybe it's not so important. It's not gonna happen now. How do you know when you need to grow that? When you feel you're so busy with your things and revenue's coming in, somebody else has to do these other things. Now
Right.
you can afford to do that. So if you
Mhm.
prioritize first your revenue, getting that revenue settled, now you have the freedom to hire some different people.
Right. Now, sometimes that can become a roadblock because you need someone before you have the revenue. And I've done uh, trade-offs and in kind kinds of things to help bootstrap businesses before, where you bring in someone who has a skill uh, that needs a skill that you have, that needs maybe mentorship or technology in my case, or marketing expertise to, in on their side, and then they can do things for you. Have you found that's helpful in growing a business?
I did a little bit of that.
Uh-huh.
Um, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I mean, I would rather hire someone than do a trade,
Hmm.
but I didn't love it. I would rather hire someone and have them taking care of something than doing a trade with them. But again, it depends on how you're doing financially, right?
Yeah. And I think you make a good point. When you do trades, you have to be careful um, with accountability. You have to make sure that there's clear expectations are set at the outset of that partnership, because a lot of times you end up giving more than than you're getting. That can happen. Um, so as we evolve as a as a workplace. So now we're not just solo entrepreneurs. We're um, we're leading an organization of maybe some virtual assistants and maybe a direct report, a direct hire. Uh, how do you keep it all together with? I mean, you're starting out with you have an empathic role. You may have empathy. But they may not. How do you grow so that your values and your morals and your expectations about how vendors and clients and personnel are treated, how do you keep that intact?
All right. So values, roles, expectations. Um, First of all, I think when we hire someone on board, when we bring them on board, if yes, they can know their art, they can know their thing, but how is the conversation going? Is their product back to you going? How are they? Do they believe in what you're doing? Like, do they need to believe in what you're doing? Maybe not, right? So I don't really expect the people that are around me to aspire to how I do things,
Mhm.
but I'd like to be able to connect with them. I'd like to be able it's a relationship. So why would I have a relationship in my business that I didn't feel more than comfortable communicating back and forth? The communication has to be really easy and simple. What's getting done, what's not, how's this going? Like it's almost got to match who you are. So I think that someone who is not someone who's not on the same page as me, um, who I can't connect with, can't be someone that's helping me because if I can't connect with them, they're not honest with me.
Mhm.
I don't really know that I can trust them. So there has to be, and here comes the whole empathy piece. We need to be able to connect with people. They need to understand us. We need to understand them. We come to a place where it's a natural, normal, I'm not being a jerk to you. You're not being a jerk to me. Let's write these on a piece of paper. We are we're both almost at the same level of understanding of how we do work. And if you're having problems with them and they're not receptive or they're not responsive, they're not a good fit. It's like a marriage. You cannot be with someone who um doesn't fit. Like, okay, I married my husband, right? Complete 360 for me, like completely different.
Mhm.
It works. So you don't necessarily need someone exactly like you, but when you're doing work together, if you can't communicate well with someone, if you feel tense or you feel like this isn't, I start and I stop, I have to have a conversation with you about how this is going to go. Like that's too much tension between you. It
Mhm.
has to be a free flow. That's how you know this is the person to hire because there's a respect between you. There's not an abrupt, this is what it is, this is how I'm doing it. Like you really want to watch those people that are that bottom line, bottom line, bottom line. Like, I don't want to work with someone like that. I'm not sure if that's what anybody wants to work with, right? You want to work with somebody that there's give and take. Like one of the girls that worked with me the longest, before she ever said yes to working with me, she probably spent 2 or 3 hours just making sure that she understood what I did enough that she could support me. And she showed me what she could do. So in that sense, there's a more relaxed vibe. There's a more, you know me. It's not about the money or the job. It's about I'm investing in my time in your business and I love what you're doing and let's make this work together. It becomes
Yeah.
collaborative. It's not, well, I gave you one revision. You have one revision to do for this amount of, like, I get why people say that. I get we need some certain parameters, but also if somebody is that nitpicky, that's not who you want, right? So it's an attraction or a repel. So you have to watch that. It's a dance with somebody else. Like when you go to I don't know, you were in high school or you were in middle school, you go to a dance.
I did go to high school.
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
you go to high school, there's a dance and the guys kind of, who do you pick? How are you picking who you're going to ask to dance? If you're going to ask anybody to dance, like you're kind of looking at all these girls or guys, whatever it is, all these individuals you could pick, and there's somebody that speaks to you. Oh, I'm going to go talk to her. Now, mind you, that was all subtle, vibrational, you tuning into who that person is. I'm going to ask her. And that's an open door for you. And it usually works out, right? When you trust that.
Mhm.
Whereas opposed, you're in a room and you looked at some, I'm like, absolutely not going over there. And I'm absolutely not going over there. Right? That's you reading the energy of the other person. And it's an intuitive hit, but it's also, I'm attracted to that. I'm guided that way. That's magnetic. There's something there. I'm going to go that way. And that's how we should be approaching. I know it's not logical. How we could be approaching when we meet, when we introduce, when we're introduced to someone who could help us with our business, when we're introduced to a friend. How do we know this is a friend that a friendship we really want to harness? There's something that's drawing you together, right? And it's either going to be all, sunshine and roses, right? Or it's going to seem that way and then it's going to turn sour in some point, right? So this is the happenings of life. We do this across the board, whether it's work or home. We're always like bringing things into our orbit. Either they work for us or they don't. And the more we can trust who we are, and we can value that intuitive hit and value the feeling that we're getting and acknowledge it. Now we can do a win-win with someone else, right? It's a feeling that you get. Love. You stay with someone because you technically love them, right? Maybe they're not the easiest person always to get along with, right? But
Yeah.
I love them, even beyond all of this other muck that's on them, right? So as long as that feeling stays there, it's almost like you can look past all the stuff because it's their stuff. It's part of who they are, right? I can look past this. I still got that feeling for you. And you make those times, I don't care if it's you touch your husband's hand or you touch your wife's hand, you put your arms around them, you just give them a look. There's the spark. That's what keeps you together, right? So it's
Yeah.
not anything you said, it's not that anything that you are per se, it's what's between you. So in business, anybody that's working with me, I have to have, like, I always do, I always know them. I know more. I don't know everything. I don't always want to know everything. Sometimes that comes up, right? But I have to have this, they get me and I get them to a certain degree. It's not, transactional. It's not, this is my hours. I have a relationship with you. So for me, that's it. For somebody else, they might be like, I don't need to have any relationships with these people in my life, right? But then I think that leads to, and mind you, you can't have, if you have 10, 15 people working for you, you can't know everything, but you should be able to know something about them. You should be able to have a conversation with them without, oh, he's the boss. I can't have a conversation with them. Like they should know you. So you bring you to the table. And why would you want to work with somebody that you could work with anybody? Why would you want to work with somebody that you really don't get a good vibe from, or you really feel like, this is really delicate. I can't, you want to be yourself. So for me, it's one of my things. I want to see who's helping me. I need to know who you are. I need to like who you are. Not everything. I don't need to know people's everything. But when I talk to you, I can talk to you freely without having to censor myself. So
Yeah, that reminds me of strong. If you have deep connections with others, you still need to have boundaries,
yeah,
especially when you're the leader, because you're responsible for them. Not only are you responsible for them and their performance, you're responsible for the performance and the success of your business. Otherwise, why are you in business? Uh, so how do you establish and to maintain those boundaries?
carefully. Maintaining those boundaries is carefully being to the point on certain things. Um, and for me, energetically speaking, it's about not getting too attached to what they're doing, what they're not doing, like treating the relationship a little bit transactional, right? But
Mhm.
kindness, you have to have that kindness there, but not, I'm not their buddy. I'm not their best friend. I'm not their this, I'm not their that. I am the person that they're reporting to share these things, but there's respect in that. And there's a direction in our talk, and then it kind of ends. So it's, to me, boundaries is about, I'm going to you for this in this realm. I'll know a little bit more, maybe, but this is what you're giving me, and this is what I'm giving to you. And there's a very easy flow back and forth with that. And so those expectations, like you said, do need to be somewhat delineated out. But if you're so nitpicky about every delineating out, the relationship starts, in my opinion, to become tedious. Now,
Well,
are we
that's
checking off?
micromanaging.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And so, how do you interview people to
yeah.
bring into your team?
Yeah.
And not every leader has intuition like you might have, uh, and they may be striving to be authentic, but they just don't know where to start. So, in the interviewing process, I mean, you're probably gonna say you got to know yourself first, which I understand. But how do you
How
put
do I
that?
know if they're a
How,
fit?
how do you put that into action? Yeah. How do you know that they're a
How do
fit?
I know if they're a fit? Okay, so first off, of course, I'm looking at the knowledge that they bring to the table. I'm questioning them. I'm asking them direct questions to see what they actually know. What, for instance, or what would you say if you looked at this? Or what are your opinions on my website? Or what are something, how would you organize this? I'm looking at how they're answering me. And then I'm looking at how I feel about them. Like, do I trust them? Like, there's some people immediately I meet them, Paul, no joke, I trust them.
Mhm.
There's just something soft about who they are. I can see they have high regard for what they do and how they do it, and it comes across. how does it come across? It's a very down to earth. It's an empathic way that they're connecting, but they're also showing me how intelligent they are. Like they're not just empathic. They're accomplished. They're go-getters. They have the tenacity. They work hard. They have a high level of what they stick with it, like they're going to give you a good product. Really, the only way you'll know for sure is when they give you a product back, what they actually do, right? So, everything is sort of a test until it's not a test. That's why, like in the very beginning, my husband works for an organization that's huge. He goes, you just don't know. I'm like, that's right. You don't know for sure. You can do your due diligence, but then the first 2, 3 months, you're going to see immediately what they can accomplish, what they don't accomplish. So, um, you take a gamble a little bit, right? It's not, you're not marrying them, right? When you meet, your husband or your wife or someone you're going to marry, you date them for a little bit. You go away a long period of time. You see how they behave. You see if anything changes. Like, and then you see how you do together in a conversation, like a difficult conversation. How does it flow? Can it flow? Or is it going to be rambunctious between the two of you? So,
Yeah.
those are all tests, all tests. But to me, if I'm working with someone and I can't, I can smell the, this is going to be an issue. Like they don't, this is going to be a confrontation as opposed to a conversation. I don't want a confrontation. I want a conversation. And I'll even put like some people, I really honestly don't think they're made for certain roles. They're doing them. They're not made for that role. They're not, I look at them and I let somebody go for this. I was giving her work to do because she enjoyed doing this work. Not that I needed that work, but this is the work she was good at. This is what she wanted to do. And I'm like, for a certain period of time, I'm like, okay. I said, but guess what? I need this work done. And I know you can do this work. So why am I giving you work to do that's not my number one priority? I'm going to give you I gave her work to do that she could do, but she didn't like doing it. So she didn't end up staying because of that, but I had no choice. I'm like, it's not always, when you have a small business, it's not always that I can just give you things that you love to do. You might end up, ideally, I give you things that you're good at and you love to do. But there may be times that my back's up against the wall. You're going to I need you to do this. And I pushed, she did it. And then she wasn't having fun doing it. And I'm like, not an ideal because I would have loved to have kept her, but I can't give you work that you specifically enjoy because I don't have that luxury, right? Ideally, we give people things only that they're good at and they love doing, right? But when you're a small business, some of the things that I do, yeah, I find a way to do it because it has to be done. It's not my number one thing. I hire you, you need to know that that is part of the equation. You might end up doing some things, maybe you don't love it, and they don't tell me they don't love it. I always love when they do this, Paul. Like when they're not really telling me the truth, I can sense there's something wrong. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. I'm like, so you feel a little intrusive in a sense, but you can feel when something isn't working and they're not, if she had said, "Oh, I really, really need you to pay me more, I really need to up my rate," that would make a big difference. But instead, it's, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go over here and do this other thing." So it is delicate. It is delicate. There is not like one answer that I can tell you other than you really want to be able to be surrounded by people you can have a conversation with. You don't want to be adversarial. You don't want to be authoritative. I mean, that doesn't become any of us. And if you're going to have to get results by having to be that way, first of all, it's disrespectful to the other person. It's not who you want to be. So when I look at businesses, I'm like, okay, not just the leaders or the managers, but every person there is responsible for how they show up. Let's up level what we want from our people. How do you talk to one another? And especially like if you have a leader who sets the tone and it's a negative tone, or it's a heavy tone, or it's a confrontational tone, it intimidates all the people below them. And then
Yeah, it does.
everything shuts down. So for the leaders primarily, and then everybody else, we need to learn how to navigate emotions, connection, being more fully present in ourselves, being powerful, and but while also being respectful of the people around us and the roles that we are doing. Like we need to love what we're doing. Why be in a job if you're not loving what you're doing? Oh, yes, I need the money. No, do something that you love, that you've bought into, that you see the value of what you're doing. Now you'll feel differently at work. So I don't know. I said a lot of different things. Sorry. I just go on. But yeah.
Well, that's okay. It's delightful talking to you. Uh, I really appreciate you coming today. Um, one before we go, I'd like you to maybe give us some your final words on three things that our listeners can do to put some of these ideas into action. Some of us don't know how to really be authentic, and so maybe you can help us with that with your final words.
All right. Well, top thing is in order to, a lot of us are stuck in our heads.
Hmm.
There's a lot of stuff going on in our heads, right? So a top thing would be for you to take notice of a brain that's thinking too much, like to slow down or shut down or speak aloud what you think so that you can almost like ground yourself into what you're thinking, calm yourself down by what you're thinking. You don't want life to go so fast. You don't, so when your brain's going too fast, everything's going too fast, your breath is shallow, like you want to be able to really um the practice of centering yourself.
Okay, center
Breath,
yourself.
center yourself. Okay.
Hmm.
Number two, have a reason, something that gets you excited about why your life is so amazing. Why is every day so amazing?
Hmm.
The wonder of things being amazing. Guess what I discovered today? That was amazing. So instead of the humdrum of our lives, we shift the amazing screensaver, the amazing phone call I got, the amazing thing I learned, like just to appreciate, it's like an attitude to appreciate those moments, this life, this day as unique, awesome, empowering, like all of the good stuff that you can pick out in a day, in any given moment. And so instead of looking at all the bad, because it's so easy to get hung up on all the bad,
Oh yeah.
so easy. So make it a conscious thing. I don't know, you could start off at night, but in any given moment, like if you start looking for all the things that are going right, you see how I like make it's like this is all happening around me. And I'm not rushing to get there. I created my life in a way that I can move with it. There's not this right hand turn over here, this left hand turn over there. Like I've synchronized my life a little bit to a flow that I really love.
Hmm.
So you structure your week that way as much as possible. And you throw in there, guess what? There's going to be 20% of the time that things are going to go wonky. And that I'm going to know is going to happen. And I've planned it all out because that's how it's going to go. Because as good as what I am, 20% of the time, things are not going to go according to that schedule. Right.
Right.
So you're
Mhm.
just trying to keep yourself at a level. And if you see yourself shooting up emotionally, shooting down highs and lows, highs and lows. You know, you can count to that. I'm so into so much health stuff I'm into. You know, people are into glucose, right? Your sugar level in your blood, highs, lows. As harmony, inner peace, joy, rhythm, you want to stay in a certain middle ground. You don't want to shoot up to the sky, how amazing my life is, and then, God, they're going to shoot right back down. Like you want to bring a certain semblance of happiness that you're always in that state. A little bit more, a little bit less, a little bit more, a little bit less, but you're not doing these high end. I'll give you this story quick. So I was helping a lady with her accounting system, and I went to her house and I was going to set everything up. This is years and years ago. And like anything else, I'm very empathic. This woman starts telling me all kinds of things. And I start giving her all kinds of information on how to simplify. I could see the whole system, what needed to happen, right? So I'm helping her with it. And she's so excited to finally have answers. She's exuberant, excited. And I looked at her and I was like, oh shit. Like, I don't like when I see people that happy because I know that the bottom is going to fall down. Like here I am helping everything, showing her she's super excited, super excited. Can she hold this? Can she continue this? Does she fully understand this? No, not yet. She's just so excited about what this is. And I'm like, oh, no, her emotional state's going to go down as soon as she sees that. So it's too too much of an up and down. The moods are too drastically up and down. That to me is like a little bit of a dysregulation of who she is. And this external one thing could make her so excited. But then just as quickly as that, this external bad thing could make her depressed. So I'm like, we need to build her. She needs to be built up to have more of a soft landing into who
Yeah.
she is. So
She needs to be confident in the system that she's got. Yeah.
she needs to know how to run the system before she gets all excited. Like I think sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. Like someone shows us something and oh, it's so easy. Da, 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 da. Well, try to do it. And you'll see that none of us have mastered anything without stumbling along the way. Like we don't get to mastery without stumbling.
Right.
Even if someone shows us and oh, it's so easy. Well, guess what? The only way you're going to learn to do it is doing it and not knowing. Like you think it's when someone shows you, you think it's easy until you go to do it. And then you're like, mm, mm. So yeah. Anyway, those are I don't know if they were three things or more.
Well, I think it was calm yourself,
Yep.
be centered.
Yep.
And then you said what was amazing. I think of gratitude. I always am thankful for even the things that go wrong. I'm thankful for them because I'm learning from them. And you also throughout you mentioned energy, and managing your energy I think is important. Is like in your story, that woman didn't know how to manage her energy, but maybe she needed a mentor. Uh, and some more mentoring. Obviously, you knew that you're going to need some more work with her beyond just setting this thing up. She's going to need some hand holding, which sometimes the engagement that you engage in it doesn't include that. So you might have to do some selling to get through that. But you also, we talked about this earlier too, how people can connect with you, and you have a gift and some training and things like that. Can you tell us about that?
Well, they can connect with me by email, Michelle with two L's at empathevolution.com.
Mhm.
Check out my website, empathevolution.com. I have a quiz on there. You can become a subscriber. You'll get a replay of one of my teachings on being an empath. I also have a free gift called Feelings, Truth, and Loving Your Life that Paul has put on his website. And what is that?
Yeah, it's www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com/loving life gift. That's www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com/loving life gift. And of course, you can connect with Michelle. I'll have all of her contact and her socials in the show notes so that you can find her there. So thank you so much, Michelle. Michelle J.
Michelle J.
Michelle J. Howe. Thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you, and talking about authenticity and intuition and energy, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And remember, faith and action go hand in hand. So keep the pedal until the next time. Pedal to the metal until next time. On the Lead Machine Growth Show, I'm Paul Guyan and Michelle J. Howe. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lead Machine Growth Show with Paul Guyan, where we show you how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream so that you can transform your vision into reality. Remember to visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show.